Calaroga Shark Media.
Hey there, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. Tomorrow on this program, I will reveal the top 25 stand-up specials of the year, not including the 5 major ones still to come out later in the year, but that's tomorrow's program. It is a quiet day at the end of a quiet week as the comedy industry seems to have gone into hibernation. Let's take a look at the late-night jokes. Stephen Colbert was talking about the cold. He said it was the kind of weather today that makes you wish you were someplace tropical, like on a boat in the Caribbean, but not near Venezuela, which is a great joke. Jimmy Fallon, getting very edgy for Jimmy Fallon. He said, yeah, at first when Trump heard it dipped into the teens, he was like, what Epstein file did they release now? Kimmel joked about how they want us to work out at the airport now. He said, that's one idea. Or, hear me out, maybe just try to have the planes leave on time so we don't need to come up with fun ways to hang out at the airport all day. Last weekend, Trump hosted the Kennedy Center Awards. Jimmy Kimmel said he's been boasting about hosting, saying we've never had a president host the Kennedy Center Honors before, which, yeah, why do you think that is? We've also never had Neil Patrick Harris order a military strike on a fishing boat before. Among the 5 major specials that are not on my list because I haven't seen them tonight, Sarah Sherman is on HBO tonight. Now, my HBO is back. My son did go to the phone store and argued with them and successfully lobbied to restore my free HBO. I was able to catch up on The Chair Company. Good show. You should be watching it. I felt like a senior citizen last night. I felt like I turned to my mom. I was watching the most recent 2 episodes, and I was like, I don't even know what's going on. How did we get to this scene? But it's such a roller coaster ride. Watch The Chair Company. I don't know if America's ready for Sarah's squirm. The New York Times caught up with Sarah, and they said somewhere in Sarah Sherman's apartment is a prosthetic eyeball that once peered out of her grandmother's skull. You see, when Sarah was a child, Grandma liked to remove its iris and startle with one milky white orb. Sarah said it was terrifying, but also really funny. After Grandma passed away, Sarah Sherman inherited the eyeball and sometimes wears it as a necklace. Sarah Squirm, live plus in the flesh, HBO tonight. The Times says Sherman enthusiastically repulses her audience while counting on her material to keep them in their seats. Sarah says, I like getting screams of terror and groans. I like playing with how far I can push people and then bring them back with comedy. Sarah talked about her heroes. Joan Rivers and Phyllis Diller talk about the same stuff that I talk about. They were just funnier, and I have images and props. As for my concern that America's not ready for her, she said she never considered toning it down, telling the Times, even if people hate the special, I'm like, this is what I'm really good at. Before an advanced screening in December, workers handed out barf bags. Also out this weekend, Robbie Hoffman's special. That's on Netflix Sunday night, and I think the Sunday night football game is a dog, right? So this might work out well. What's Sunday night football this week? Oh, no, it's Cowboys-Vikings. That's watchable. All right. I often blow off Sunday Night Football. It's like too much. It's like, all right, I watched 7 hours of sports already. I need to do something else. Plus, there's that hour between the late games and the 8 o'clock. Maybe I'll get it in there. I'm excited for Robbie Hoffman. When I saw John Mulaney was producing her special, which he did, I brushed up on Robbie Hoffman as part of what I do for a living. And I was like, oh, yeah. So I'm excited for this one. Robbie told Gaiety.com, I've been very slow and steady wins the race. I've been working a long time, but steadily chipping and enjoying. Congratulations to Jon Stewart. He will receive the Walter Cronkite Award. They have a new category. It is Comedic News and Commentary. Stewart will be recognized for his work on The Daily Show. Well earned, but are there enough people to give out that category every year? So you're going to wind up giving it to Oliver and Seth Meyers and Roy Wood Jr. And then who? I guess that's a problem for 5 years from now. Wow, Jon Stewart's 63 years old now? I guess. I'm 56, so I guess. Wow, all right. We all got old, everybody. The Cronkite people said Jon Stewart redefined satire as astute insights based on solid research. They lauded Stewart as a master of his class, saying he remains relevant, bringing 5 valuable facts to light, advancing public discourse, and using civic action. Bassem Youssef said, when the revolution in Egypt broke out, I did the one thing that made sense to me. I left medicine and became a comedian. He was at the Bridge Summit in Abu Dhabi and said, I'm in this very peculiar position where I'm a comedian, but my name is associated with wars, revolutions, and human tragedy. For some reason, people take my jokes more seriously than they should. We live in a world where a TikTok video gets more engagement than a UN resolution, and where a comedian's Instagram post about Gaza gets more traction than a 50-page Amnesty International report. I'm invited to political forums, hard talk interviews, and serious events, but I don't know if this says more about how seriously people take comedians or how much of a joke serious discourse has become. Is it because comedians are brilliant? Absolutely not. Is it because somewhere along the way the circus became more trusted than the Senate and jesters became more credible than the journalists? People have found more truth in comedy clubs than in the outlets of the free press. As I mentioned, tomorrow is the top 25 stand-up specials of the year, so I won't have an opportunity to wish Dick Van Dyke a happy 100th birthday, so I will wish it to him in advance. Van Dyke told People magazine, "I've always thought that anger is one thing that eats up a person's insides and hate, and these were things I didn't like, people I don't like and disapprove of, but I was never able to do a white heat kind of hate." He says his brighter outlook is one of the reasons he's made it to 99/100. He also credits his wife Arlene and says, "Without question, our ongoing romance is the most important reason I've not withered away into a hermetic grouch. Arlene is half my age, and she makes me feel somewhere between 2/3 and 3/4 my age, which is still saying a lot." It is list season. Friend of the show, Jason Zinneman in the New York Times, put out something on Thursday called Best Comedy of 2025. Jason has Roy Wood Jr.'s Lonely Flowers as his best special. Under a category called Best Auteurist Special is Cameron Esposito's Four Pills, and says Esposito patiently morphs a swaggering act about dark subjects, including divorce, rehab, or relationship with a clown, into something fractured, emotional, and stylish. The best parenting comedy is Rosebud Baker's The Mother Lode and George Severus' A Sense of Urgency. I don't know George's special. Let's see. George wonders whether he should join his gay friends in having children, before concluding he would like to skip the diapers phase and go right to the part where his daughter's a bohemian playwright. Best YouTube special goes to Gianmarco Ceresi, Thief of Joy. None of us can argue with that. People who listen to this podcast know I'm a big fan of Gianmarco, 3-time guest. Best range, Chris Fleming. Jason and I are aligned here. We really like Chris Fleming. One of the loudest comedy audiences I heard this year was when Fleming, performing at Union Hall in Brooklyn, writes Zinneman, imagined a drawn-out fight between the Fresh Air host Terry Gross and Adam Driver. What was more impressive is 2 days later at Carnegie Hall, he took the same material, ballooned his physicality, and did just as well. He has Mark Maron's special listed under Funniest Spoof of the Right, quoting the killer line from Maron's special, "You do realize we annoyed the average American into fascism." Best lineup went to the Mark Twain Awards. I will talk about that over the weekend. And best year-end surprise, he gave it to Jim Gaffigan's Bourbon special, live from Old Forester. According to Zinneman, in a fragmented culture where many specials feel padded out, it's a savvy move to go deep and narrow, a labor of love that comes off as a little holiday gift.
Comedy stock market.
Thank you, Burt Reynolds. Again, I will remind everyone, the comedy stock market is where we find value to make hypothetical money off comedians who are undervalued, and then we try and sell high on comedians who are overvalued. This is not saying anyone is good or bad. We're just looking at relative value, how they're valued in the mainstream media these days, and where we can find some value. I got a recommendation from one of the listeners who sent me cover art for Nikki Glaser promoting the Golden Globes. And let me open up my phone here so I can describe this to you. We are going to sell Nikki Glaser. Here we see Nikki. Now, the first thing that draws your attention are her boobs, because she's showing a lot of boobs here. Minimal dress on the top here, covering the extra naughty parts, but we're seeing a lot of boobs. Your eyes go straight to the boobs, and then your eyes are drawn over to the phallic-ish trophy, and Nikki looking longingly at the phallic-like trophy while her boobs are hanging out. I like comedy. I like sex. I like the Golden Globes. I don't need to mix all three. We'll sell Nikki Glaser. We're also going to sell Sarah Sherman. Now, again, this is not good or bad. I'm really excited for Sarah Sherman's special. I really like Sarah Sherman. I'm prepared for Sarah Squirm. I don't think America is. I think people are going to be like, oh, it's the nice, weird lady that makes fun of Colin Jost from Saturday Night Live. Let's check her out. And they're going to be horrified by this. So let's sell Sarah Sherman right now while all the press is out there before people actually watch this thing. So this is an example of we're getting good value if we sell today. Conversely, let's load up on Robbie Hoffman. I know last week I told you to buy Robbie Hoffman. Let's double down on Robbie Hoffman before that special comes out. And especially that'll be on Netflix, and people will be like, what's this? Let me hit play on this. And they'll be like, oh, that was really good. So I think we're getting really good value on Robbie Hoffman. Looking ahead to 2026, let's sell Marcelo Hernandez stock. Do we even have any? Well, maybe we'll short sell it. He's got a special on Netflix, and I'm convinced he does two things well. One, a Sebastian Maniscalco impression, so that's good for 30 seconds in your special. And he does Domingo and things that might as well just be called Domingo. I don't know if he's got an hour in him. We're going to find out on Netflix in January, but I'm going to sell Marcelo Hernandez. And we probably should buy some Jimmy Kimmel extended for another year. And you're probably like, well, Johnny already extended. So where's the value here? Here's the value. When Colbert's show ends, where are those people going to go? Like the people like my mom they're not going to switch over to Jimmy Fallon. I think they'll go over to Kimmel. I think Colbert's audience is more aligned with Kimmel than Fallon, and the late night audience has to go somewhere. Some of them will just fade away, because like my mom would just leave on CBS, and you could put this show on CBS and should stare at it. I think Kimmel's going to pick up a decent amount of audience, so this is a long-term buy here. Let's buy some Jimmy Kimmel. All right, so we're selling Nikki Glaser, we're selling Sarah Sherman, we're selling Marcelo Hernandez, we're loading up on Robbie Hoffman, and we're buying some Jimmy Kimmel. That's your comedy stock market for this week. An update on Andy Dick from TMZ. TMZ says Andy invited a TMZ photographer into his LA home on Wednesday to talk about the incident I reported yesterday. Andy apparently told the cameraman he's 100% fine, and then he changed his answer to 110% fine. As TMZ tells it, our cameraman then asked what happened on Tuesday. Andy let one of his friends take center stage. The dude starts talking about the day, and then Andy cuts him off when the convo turns to one of his other down-on-his-luck friends. Andy said he sat down next to the guy who whipped out some crack, and from that point forward, everything went downhill. Andy said he needed a little bit of that, meaning crack, and then told, quote, that TMZ is calling stunning. I don't mind doing some crack every now and then. I hope you're okay, Andy Dick. I'm not sure you are. Brad Williams was on Jacksonville radio. He found out about the minor league baseball team and said, how am I not a fan of a team that are called the Jumbo Shrimp? That's amazing. I'm 4'4". I should be wearing Jumbo Shrimp merchandise wherever I go. I will literally fly out from California. I will leave my hot Chinese wife and my wonderful daughter just to be out there to throw out a first pitch for a Jumbo Shrimp game. Let's make this happen, all right? Mitchell and Webb are not helping. We'll get a second season from the UK's Channel 4. That's great. Charlie Perkins is head of comedy for Channel 4, and Mr. Perkins said, they said sketch was dead, but the success of Mitchell and Webb are not helping, with audiences on linear, streaming, and social proves otherwise. Making a hit, on top of having the ability to showcase so many incredible new writers and performers alongside David and Robert, has been an immense honor and joy. Thank you so much to our exceptional Series 1 ensemble. We're looking forward to offering more brilliant writers and performers the opportunity on Series 2. Long live sketch comedy. We'll stay in the UK. They seem to be working this week. The US is not so much. They've made a change to the judging panel on BBC 2's Great British Menu. Phil Wang will replace Ed Gamble as one of the judges. I like Phil's comedy a lot. Phil said, I'm so excited to be the new judge on Great British Menu. I've been an avid food lover all my life. I'm thrilled about this opportunity to taste food from the most creative and skilled chefs in the country. Can't wait to put my mouth where my mouth is. Ed Gamble said, I can think of no better person to pass the golden spoon to than my dear friend and frequent dining companion Phil Wang. He's hilarious, great company, and crucially, matches my appetite more than anyone else I've met. I'll miss everyone on the team, but I know they'll forget about me as soon as they start chomping with the Wang. And that is your comedy news for today. All right, tomorrow, top 25 stand-up specials of the year. Sunday is other stuff that was funny. For example, the Mark Twain Awards, tires, things like that, and all the other specials that didn't make my list and my reasons why. And I'll see you here tomorrow.